Welcome to Career Canvas with Sandra Yuk-Sim Wu, where creativity meets strategy to shape a career and life you love. Ali Pahlavani made a remarkable transition from civil engineering to the financial services industry. His analytical mindset and problem-solving skills honed during his engineering career provided a solid foundation as he navigated the complexities of financial markets. Ali went on to become a certified financial advisor, where his expertise in investment strategies, wealth management, and financial planning quickly set him apart in the industry. Ali's leadership acumen soon propelled him into executive roles at major financial institutions, where he drove business development, operational strategy, and a culture of innovation and excellence. Beyond his corporate achievements, Ali has been a dedicated advocate for the financial services industry through Advocis, the Financial Advisors Association of Canada. He served as president of the Ottawa Board and held key leadership roles at the national level, making significant contributions to the association's mission of supporting and advocating for financial advisors across Canada. Ali remains deeply engaged as a certified financial planner with Desjardins Financial Security Independent Network and Desjardins Financial Security Investments Incorporation. His ability to balance hands-on financial expertise with high-level strategic leadership has earned him a stellar reputation among peers and clients. Ali's passion for education and mentorship also led him to become a professor. His engaging teaching style transforms complex concepts into practical applications, making him a highly respected educator. Let's dive in and start painting the canvas of your career, one bold stroke at a time.
So thank you, Ali, for joining me today. And I know that you have worked in three very different industries: engineering, tourism, and also finance.
Yeah.
Now you're a professor. And while you're doing this, you're still very involved and active, in the financial industry. So what drove those transitions? How do you navigate the change?
Yeah.
What is your story?
Yeah, thank you, Sandra, for having me today, and I'm very excited to be featured in your podcast. The funny thing is that I didn't plan to make any of those career moves. My transition into financial services came about as a result of a mix of curiosity, conversation, and staying open to possibility. And the same thing with career in tourism. My career in tourism actually started one gloomy fall afternoon when I was an engineering student. I was really bored. So I answered to an ad in the paper, and that led to a fantastic international career where I organized cultural tours for some prestigious cultural institutions like Harvard, Oxford, museums like Smithsonian, Metropolitan Museum of Art, and many, many others. And it was just answering to that ad. Now, fast forward to 2007, my family and I had just landed in Canada as permanent residents. One afternoon, I uploaded my resume on a job site, thinking that nothing would come of it. And almost immediately, I received an email from nowhere, basically inviting me to an interview with a financial services company. I didn't have any background in financial services, so I thought it was a mismatch or even a scam. So I was actually deciding against even showing up to the interview. But finally, I decided there's nothing to lose to go to the interview. As they say, where there's nothing to lose by trying and a great deal to gain if successful, by all means try. So I showed up to the interview, and towards the end of that interview, I felt something click. I actually got along very well with the person who was interviewing me. And he told me that he had been in engineering before. He was a civil engineer, and he had his own business. And he had started with that company 18 years prior. And he said, if I can do it, maybe you can too. And as he was telling me that, I was thinking, if he can do it, for sure, I can do it too. So that stuck with me, and that gave me the final push. And I started in financial services business. So it was not one major leap. It was a series of moments where I stayed open, I stayed curious, and try something new.
So from engineering to for financial services, because you were curious and you're open-minded, you want to try something new, and you realize hey, nothing to lose anyway. Do you think your engineering background helped you navigate the complexity in the financial services sector?
The engineering background gave me a structured way of thinking, a problem-solving mindset that proved to be very valuable in financial planning. As engineers, we are trained to break down a complex problem into smaller chunks and deal with each little piece on its own and try to look for patterns and try to come up with practical solutions. And all of those skills have parallels in financial planning. So although on paper, it looks like a major shift, but those underlying foundational skills actually lined up very well, surprisingly, in my case.
On paper, it looks like a major shift, but there's a lot of fundamental mindset and principle that is transferable.
Yes.
Okay, that's very good. Could you give us some steps how you prepare yourself to be a successful in financial sector?
Truth of the matter is that I was not prepared at all. So I started in financial services and financial planning, not having any experience in financial planning. I was trained as an engineer, and then I had built a career in tourism. I didn't have the technical knowledge. But what I did have was a burning desire to succeed, a willingness to learn, and a mentor that believed in me from day one. Actually, the interesting story is that the first week that I started in financial planning field was the first week of a 6-week annual national contest with a company that I was working with at that time. If you could meet or achieve a certain target during those 6 weeks, they would offer the highest sales award that the company had to the winners of the contest. So everyone was open to everyone from all over Canada. And I was obviously very green with no background in financial services. I turned to my mentor at that time and I asked him, do you think I have a shot at winning this thing? He looked at me and he said, what do you think, Ali? Because if you think you can, or if you think you can't, you're right either way. That was a very interesting moment in my career. So I told him that I thought I could win that contest, and I actually did. And I became one of the greenest people who had ever won that contest in the history of that company. Based on that success, I committed fully from there on to the career. I asked questions, I asked for feedback, I tried to learn from people who were good at what they were doing, tried to job shadow those people, took courses. And within 3 years from there, the company promoted me as an executive. So I started as a trainee, and then I went as a sales manager. I skipped over a whole level in the organization chart, which was a district manager, and they promoted as a regional manager. Again, the learning curve was very steep, but again, if you keep an open mind and if you are willing to learn, if you show up every day, if you give your best to the career, you can always thrive. It's a journey, but it's a very worthwhile journey.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What I'm hearing from your story is okay to ask for other people's opinion, but at the end of the day, it's really up to you. If you can see the end game, where you want it to be, you put in the effort to make it happen. And no pain, no gain.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nail it.
So Ali, what do you love most about what you do now?
So what I love most about what I do is impact. In financial planning, you work with individuals and families to help them plan their financial future. And that is really meaningful work. But teaching brings up that impact into a whole new level. In my classrooms, I work with students from different walks of life. Some of them are newcomers. Some of them are career changers. Some of them are already in the industry and they take this program to advance in their careers. And I have lived their journey. I see myself in them. I've been in their shoes. Seeing that they come into the program sometimes unsure of themselves, but then from the other end, they go out of the program, they finish the program, first of all, with a number of credentials, but at the same time, the most important thing is that they achieve a sense of direction and confidence that will help them throughout their careers. And that is very gratifying work. I find a lot of gratification in helping students go through that journey of starting in the program, and then I see their growth through the program, finding great careers in the industry. And sometimes I see my students in conferences, in industry events, my former students after several years, and I'm very proud of them. I see their professional growth and where they are, and sometimes they walk up to me, they're being very kind, and they tell me that something that I said in class actually inspired them, or the conversation that we had actually gave them the motivation to do more. And all those things are very gratifying. I also believe that teaching is in my blood. I come from a family of educators. Everyone in my family is pretty much a teacher or was a professor. I get a lot of gratification because of that as well.
Do you think your analytical mindset and problem-solving skill gave you an advantage, when approaching financial market and developing strategy for your clients?
Absolutely. I believe that the skills that I learned in engineering helped me immensely early on, with the fact that, as I mentioned, it's all about breaking down a big problem into smaller pieces and deal with every piece separately and trying to find solutions. Sometimes you're working with incomplete information in engineering and you need to make logical assumptions. But then your work is also very precise and it has to be very accurate. Because if you miscalculate, for instance, the load distribution in a structure, you're running the risk of that building collapsing in the future. And you need to put in the same level of care and precision in basically financial planning. When you're building a plan, for instance, for someone's retirement, you need to put in the same level of precision and care. But I'd like to also mention that these skills that I developed in engineering helped me with the analytical side of things. But the skills that I developed also in tourism helped me with the human side of things, with connecting with people, with building trust, with communicating with people. And those are also very valuable in financial planning, because one thing is to build a very sound financial plan, but also very important is to communicate that plan to your client so that you empower them in taking action on that plan. Without that action, all the work that has gone into building that plan would basically go to waste. You want your client to take action on the plan that you have built for them. So that mix has proved to be a very valuable mix in my case.
You have taken on the role of a professor, mentoring and inspiring future financial leaders. And also you mentioned is you have family members who are and were a professor, so they inspire you to become an educator. So can you talk more about what motivates you to give back to the financial industry through education?
Yeah, very good question. I think it goes back to how I started my career in financial planning myself. As I said, I didn't have any prior experience in financial planning, but I had a mentor who believed in me even before I believed in myself. And that made a huge difference in my case. So I want to be that person for others. And that has inspired me to start teaching at Algonquin College. And the motivation is that if I can shorten the learning curve for someone, if I can inspire someone to realize their potential, that would be very meaningful to me. And I also always say that financial planning has been very kind to me and my family, and I like to give back to the industry by mentoring and training the next generation of financial advisors and financial planners. One of the greatest misconceptions is that you need to be a mathematician or have an MBA to succeed in financial planning. However, most successful financial planners are the ones that can connect with people. They show empathy in their relationship with their clients. They listen and they have critical thinking. So those skills are very important, because the technical side of things, we can always learn those things. But we are in a human relationship business in financial planning, and we need to build trust with the client. We need to get to know the client well. We need to understand their goals and build a plan that aligns with their aspirations. So a lot of the transferable skills that you can bring from other fields of work can translate into very successful tools, especially early on in financial planning. But at the same time, anybody who's coming into financial planning needs to be open to learning, into self-development, and it's a journey. It's not a sprint, as they say, it's a marathon. So you need to stay the course and you need to learn, but if you stay the course, you'll be thriving in this field as well.
Anything aspiring financial advisor can do to help themselves when they have self-doubt?
Very good question. I recommend that people rely and capitalize on their strength when they come into financial planning. So if you have a background in sales, or if you have a background in customer service or even teaching, a lot of those skills, those people skills that you have developed in those careers can be basically transferred into financial planning. The other thing is that it's very important to be realistic, to come into this field with open mind. Make sure that you actually talk to people who are already in the field to learn about their challenges, to come into the field with that open mind that you know what is expected of you, and then learn from the people who are ahead of you. And all those things can give you the right environment to basically grow and to thrive in financial planning.
How competitive it is in financial services? I guess what I want to learn is, if I'm an aspiring financial advisor, right? How can I approach my peers for advice and encouragement? How can I build a relationship with my peers and not appear to be a competitor?
My experience has been that everybody who worked alongside of me in financial planning business has always been very open to give me advice. We all start from somewhere, and I believe it's their way of paying it forward. I believe a lot of us have had someone in those positions to help us early on when we start, and we have these communities around us as we go through our journey that we bounce ideas off of, and we learn from each other. So it's part of the culture, so to speak, in financial planning to basically help other people who are working alongside of you. And we are in advice business. So providing advice comes naturally to us. So if a junior financial planner asks a question, it's just natural that a more senior financial advisor or financial planner would be ready to provide advice. And at the end of the day, I believe most of us are in this business as a calling. So we are here to help people. We are here to make sure that people manage their financial situation in a way that will give them financial comfort, they achieve their goals, and we are here for those reasons. So if other people who are in the industry also do their job right, and all of us as a group help the consumers, it is going to help us as a society. So when somebody else is doing their job right, they're actually helping the overall goal that I have in the industry. And at the same time, it also helps with the image of the industry. If people are capable and they know what they're doing, it's going to help the image as well. Someone who doesn't know what they're doing can defame and deface the industry, and that negative aspect of that can harm my image and my business as well. So even for selfish reasons, if you want to think about it, although most of us do not think about that side of thing, but helping newer financial planners would be just logical.
I met with financial advisor or people who have a lot of experience in managing their own finance. So they not only gave me advice, but they taught me. They help me understand how I should manage my finance and build my asset, as a female business leader. I feel very fortunate that I have that kind of support. How soon we should become financial literate?
To answer that question, the sooner you start is always the better it is. There's not basically a perfect time that you wait for that when you start your financial planning. Any day is a perfect day to start that, and the sooner you start, the better it is. You mentioned, however, something that is very important as a female professional. You reached out to, I'm assuming, a financial planner to help you with your financial situation. I want to make that as a segue to talk about the great career that this is for female financial planners. Right now, the mix is that it's more lopsided to male financial planners, but I really believe that it's a fantastic career for female financial planners. It is, as we discussed, it is a very impactful, financial planning is a very impactful line of work. But we need to reach out to a diverse group of people. So with that, we need fresh, diverse voices. And we need people who can connect to different people from different walks of life. And because of that, there's always a really great space for female financial planners to come in and to be able to help people, other female professionals, or people from different walks of life who prefer to have a female financial planner. I see parallels with this. So there are some female real estate agents who are extremely successful, but I believe the work-life balance that the financial planning field gives to female financial planners is really fantastic. And at the same time, all that, the fact that it's a human relationship business, it can also be a really great field for female financial planners.
The next question is, how do you see the role of financial advisor evolving in the coming years?
Yeah, so the role of the financial planner has been evolving and will continue to evolve into the future. These days, consumers have access to online tools. They have access to robo-advisors. They have access to AI. So there are some tools that consumers have access to that they can, on their own, try to manage their own financial affairs. But what sets apart financial planners is basically the focus, again, on the human side of things, human-centered financial planning, holistic financial planning. That is the shift that our industry has made over the last so many years, and it will continue into the future. In addition to that, future financial planners need to stay on top of technology. That is a very important aspect of what we will be doing, staying on top of technology, to use technology to enhance client experience and to streamline the processes. So that is also very, very important. Specialization is another very important thing that is happening, and it will continue into the future. There will be space, a very comfortable space, I would say, for financial planners who find a niche and they specialize in that niche. For instance, cross-border financial planning or estate planning or risk management. So they take one area and they really specialize in that field, and they can find a niche through doing that. And then continuous learning, because the landscape is always evolving. The regulations change. The client's needs change. So we need to keep learning, and we need to keep studying, and we need to take new courses and new designations and so on and so forth. So I believe those are some of the things that we see happening in the industry moving into the future.
What kind of changes you would like to see in the finance sector?
In the financial planning sector?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the financial planning sector, there are a number of things that are very important for the future to see happen. One of them that has actually just started is to protect the consumer through title protection. There has been a lot of confusion in the course of the years with regards to who can hold out as a financial advisor or financial planner. There is legislation right now on that, and that is a big move forward. But in order to stay away from consumer confusion, there is more work that needs to be done in that front. Rebuilding the client's confidence is actually something that will come out of that as a result of that legislation and the implementation of that legislation. The other thing is that I believe the change into AI and the change into technology will provide a lot of tools that we can draw upon in financial planning. And with that, we can actually reach out to more clients. We can build more financial plans because now we have all these tools that will help us shorten the time that it takes to build a financial plan. And that way we can reach out to more people. But in order to bring it to a more significant number of people, I believe it should start in schools. Students right now, in most cases, do not get any training any education with regards to managing their finances. I believe it should start from there. And through the efforts that we have done over the years, through our association, we've gone to schools and we realized that there is a really big gap in financial planning or financial education at schools. By bringing it to the children and starting it there is a chance that later on, students, when they graduate from high school or university, they continue on that path. And that is going to be basically a really great thing for financial services industry as well, because we'll have a much bigger audience through that to basically bring our services to them.
What skills should future professionals be focusing on to stay relevant? So you talked about leveraging technology, AI solutions to improve clients' experience, and also bring in efficiency and manage data, manage communications. You talk about soft skill. Is there anything else that people need to focus on to stay current?
A very important part of what we do is to network. So networking skills are also very, very important. It can be categorized under the people skills, but people skills could be one-on-one or in a group of people. So networking, having a good mentor, seeking mentorship is another very important aspect that would a financial planner succeed. Most of us have mentors all throughout our careers. There's always someone who will look at you and they will be honest with you and they will give you that little nudge when you need it in order to do better. And those are some very important things. But yes, the three things that you mentioned, the technical side of things, the soft skills, and basically relying on all the technology, those are very important aspects. And combining those things in a mix usually will help a person thrive in this industry.
If you can redo it all over again, would you go back to do engineering, go back to tourism? Because I know now you're still involved in education and financial services. Yeah. What is your next? Like, do you want to keep doing the same thing, or you want to explore something new?
Well, you never know what the future will hold. Like I said, I enjoy teaching very much, and I've also enjoyed financial planning, and that's what I do on the side. But I don't know what the future will hold. I'll keep an open mind, like I have all throughout my career, and see what the future will bring. You asked me if I would do the same things if I were to go back in time. I believe I would still do the same things. I enjoyed everything I did very much. I believe although the learning curve was sometimes very steep in most of these fields, but it was very enjoyable to learn something new, to get to know new people in each one of these fields, and to explore new horizons, basically, in each one of these fields. So I think I would go back. If I were to go back, I would just do the same things over again.
Okay, fun question. As a parent, because I know that you have children, and earlier I talked about it is so important for everyone to have financial literacy at a very young age. How do you explain finance to your own children? I'm pretty sure my parent talked about this with me, and I did not retain anything. I did not understand, retain, show interest. How do we inspire people in our own life?
That's such a great question, Sandra. You know what? It is a hard thing to do. It's not easy. But I believe it's always leadership by example. Our children will look at us to see how we manage our own affairs, and then they learn from us. Like everything else that we do, if you want to tell them, want to teach them to be honest in life, we need to be honest ourselves. If you want to teach them how to manage their finances, we need to also give them a good example to do that. But at different ages, there are different things that we can do for our children. For instance, early on, let's say under 5 years old, we can give them money to count so that they learn about the concept of money. If they want to purchase something, we can give them a little bit of money to go and purchase it themselves, so to pay for it, so to basically build that relationship between money and getting a service or a product in return. Because Years ago, I remember my daughter was telling me when we went to the store and I would tap my credit card or my debit card. The misconception was that there's a lot of money in this plastic thing, and then money is created out of nowhere, and then you can just tap, and it's like a magic wand, and you can just purchase things. But by explaining that the resources are limited, that can teach the kids a lesson. Now, when they grow up a little more, we can teach them about how to plan for a project. For instance, if we want to go on a trip, to teach them, to actually ask them to plan for the trip. Give them a budget, ask them to basically look at, for instance, the cost for the hotel, the cost for the transportation, things like that, and make a budget for that trip. It will give them a basis for building budgets. Later on, when they're at high school level, we can teach them pretty much everything. We can teach them about credit. We can teach them about mortgages. We can teach them about budgeting and all those things. But we can always teach. At the end of the day, again, back to my first point, our children will look at us to see if we follow those rules ourselves or not. One other very important thing is to have a shopping list, because when you actually go shopping, if you have a shopping list, it keeps you away from doing those impulse shoppings that a lot of us sometimes indulge in. But it teaches the children that you have a plan. These are all the things you need, and then you go to the grocery store and you follow the shopping list based on what you actually need. And then you do all these things, and then you keep your fingers crossed, hoping that they actually learn. So yeah, those are a few things that I implement, and I recommend other parents also implement in their day-to-day life in order to teach those basic skills to their children. We have actually a course, now that we are talking about that, Algonquin College, called Introduction to Finance. It's a fantastic course that the Foundation Business Administration students take in level 3. And I wish that course would be taught to everyone, to high school students, to basically everyone, because it encapsulates all those little skills, or many of those very important skills that everyone needs to know in order to manage their financial affairs. It deals with time value of money. It deals with mortgages, credits. It deals with even how to purchase a home, the land transfer taxes and things like that, taxation. So all those things that we need to know in order to basically have a more successful financial life.
Well, thank you for coming and explain,
thank you. This was fun.
the landscape of financial services. Yeah. And also, I appreciate that the last question too. How to teach it through personal leadership. Lead by example.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Sandra. And it's been fun.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Career Canvas with Sandra Yuk-Sim Wu. Ali's story is such a powerful reminder that careers don't have to follow a straight line. Skills are transferable, passions evolve. And sometimes the most unexpected pivots lead to the most fulfilling work. From engineering to financial leadership, from building structures to building wealth, Ali showed us that curiosity, adaptability, and a willingness to learn can open incredible doors. Whether you're exploring a career change, stepping into leadership, or navigating uncertainty, I hope today's conversation inspires you to trust your skills, stay curious, and reach out to those ahead of you on the path. Because most people do want to help. If you enjoyed this episode, I'd love for you to follow or subscribe so you won't miss the next story. Share this episode with someone who's thinking about making a bold career move. Leave a review. Your feedback helps this podcast grow. Remember, your career is your canvas. It's never too late to paint a new chapter. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep shaping a life and career you love.